You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
John Castaneda takes on Chris Gutierrez this Saturday at UFC 313. And this fight was kind of thrown together last second. John Castaneda, he was originally supposed to fight Douglas Silva de Andrade last week. Andrade had to pull out. And Chris Gutierrez was supposed to fight Jean Matsumoto for this card, but they pulled him forward to take on Rob Font last week. So, short notice for both of these guys. I'm glad they both got both of these guys fights. John Castaneda, very good fighter. I think both these guys are 33 years old, so middle of their primes, but very good fighter. Kind of a southpaw, good kicks, bounces around, switches stances, decent striking, decent power. You've seen him drop a few guys. Will mix it in with his wrestling. I think he wrestled in college at University of Minnesota for a little bit. Ended up dropping out to pursue MMA, but is a jiu-jitsu black belt to Chris Gutierrez's brown belt. I think just Chris Gutierrez, I just feel like he's got more experience in the UFC, better experience than John Castaneda. Castaneda's been in the UFC since 2020, Gutierrez since 2018. So Gutierrez has fought a lot of really good people. Lost to Yidong Song in a 5-round affair, lost to Pedro Munoz. John Castaneda coming off of a loss to Daniel Marcos, had some good performances over Muin Gafarov, choked out Miles Johns. Went to a decision with Daniel Wood that he took on short notice, but was kind of getting his legs beat up in that fight. Was beating up Daniel Santos, dropped him several times with head kicks and punches. Ended up kind of gassing in the second round and getting finished. Chris Gutierrez, very good striker. I think he's the better technical striker. Very good leg kicks, has leg kick TKOs in his career. John Castaneda is going to be like 3 inches shorter, but is going to have the reach advantage. He's 5'6" at 71-inch reach versus Chris Gutierrez 5'9", 67-inch reach. So doesn't have the punching range, but definitely the taller guy will benefit him with the kicks. Very close fight here. I think it's an evens pick right now. I'm going to have to go with Chris Gutierrez. I was initially thinking John Castaneda just because he does have that wrestling background. Chris Gutierrez, we have seen him get taken down in the past, but you look at his stats, he's got a 71% takedown defense statistic, and John Castaneda only has a 35% takedown accuracy. So I feel like Chris Gutierrez is going to beat up his legs early, really affect his movement, take away a little bit of a snap and pop out of his shots and out of his takedowns. So I think this is going to be primarily on the feet. I think John Castaneda will go for takedowns and try and mix it up. He does that really well in his last fights, but I just think Chris Gutierrez is too well-rounded, too good at movement on the feet. Fighting out of Factory X at Denver, Colorado, so trains at elevation. This fight will be at somewhat of an elevation in Las Vegas. Another thing to take into consideration is John Castaneda. This fight was thrown together last second, but Chris Gutierrez never had to make weight. He was planning on fighting on this card. He got his opponent pulled. Knew they were looking for an opponent, but wasn't really sure if he was fighting. But he didn't have to actually go through cutting weight, whereas John Castaneda, he cut weight last week, and we found out very late in the game that he wasn't going to be fighting. So who knows how that's going to affect him in this fight. It's definitely going to affect him. It's just to what degree is that going to hurt him. So Chris Gutierrez, very good leg kicks. I would say he's the better striker. I wouldn't say he has tons of power in his hands. He primarily uses his kicks, but they're just absolutely devastating kicks. A lot of knees in his career, or a lot of knockouts in his career. One by knee over Frankie Edgar, Bagarel Dana, Vince Morales leg kicks. So decisions as well, a lot of decisions where he just kind of outpoints his opponents, keeps it on the feet, beats him up, gets a lot of respect, and that's kind of how I see this one going. Wouldn't be surprised if John Castaneda was able to tag him, mix it up with his wrestling to win a decision, and get Chris Gutierrez to the ground. Gutierrez is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Castaneda is a black belt, is the better wrestler in my opinion, but he's got to get through the strikes and get through the leg kicks to get there, and I just think Chris Gutierrez is just a little bit better in the striking game to get this one done. Did go 5 rounds with Yidong Song. Recently went to a decision with Quang Lee, who I think is also a wrestler. Quang Lee got 2 takedowns on him, still lost. So maybe John Castaneda gets the takedowns, just don't think it's going to be enough to win him the fight. So I'm going to go with Chris Gutierrez by decision. Thanks.